our Just Because bundle. This was inspired by a dear friend of ours who had requested some foliage type imagery to go along with flowers and other dyes that she has in her collection already, or something that can also be a standalone and just use on its own. We love the idea because we are also fans of foliage, and it can also be used all year long. So what we did is we centered the foliage around the sentiment just because. Well, because we can all be sending cards without an occasion in mind, right? You don't have to send cards just for a birthday or some sort of celebration. Anyone who received a card in the mail that said, just because you matter to me, would put a smile on their face, don't you think? Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit about how these work together. Let me slide this over. First thing I'll show you is what the dies cut out here. So you've got these nice different foliage things. You also, there's a rectangle in the die, which is a separate piece, and I want you to know that it's a double cut. So it not only cuts out this rectangle, but it cuts out this frame as well. We love the double cut idea. Then you've got this flower, and something unique about this is the slits in the die actually go down pretty far into that flower. I can show you that. And it just makes it easier for curling up your flower to give it a little bit of life and dimension on your cards. Just helps those petals fold in a little bit easier like that. Okay, then you have a scripty because, and you also have this serif font that says just because. What's nice about this is these, the just and the because are on their own little plates. So you can use them inside the rectangle frame right here, and it gives you that negative peek through. Or you can use the letters, oh, my C's flipped around. You can use the letters on their own as well. If you're wanting to line them up and just use the letters on their own, use this as a guide. So what you can do is just take your T and like glue it back in place. And then when you lift this up, the T will stay down and it'll be spaced nicely for you. Then you've got this little banner. Here's the banner. And the sentiments in the stamp set, these little sentiments right here, like you matter to me, you inspire me, my life is better because of you, fits on this little banner piece. And one other thing I wanted to show you is we've got this little flower die. There's actually 7 individual little blossoms that will die cut out. And we did that so that you don't have to keep track of a teeny tiny little die to get these little blossoms to put on this sprig, as you can see there. Now, one other thing I want to note is that the stamps and the dies are not cookie cutter. So what this means is when you die cut your element, this is stamped and this is die cut, and as you can see, they go in opposite directions. And we did that so that you have additional layering options in your card. Same thing with here. This has got like a little crosshatch design on the stamp, and then that one can just layer nicely like that. And this one also goes the opposite direction of the stamp. And again, it's just so that you have additional layering options. They are not meant to line up together. In the stamp set, you've got these nice pieces here where this big rectangle that's kind of got some distress in it, and also this little skinnier rectangle, and that is so that you can stamp that rectangle down and then stamp your sentiments on top of it. Just gives it a nice little like brushed swash look behind it. And like I mentioned, these little sentiments fit on that banner piece. And then feel free to mix and match. The just right here is actually stamped from the stamp set, and then we mix that together with the scripty die cut piece and the because. Okay, so there are a lot of different options with this stamp and die, and let me just show you a few projects that we've made as well. So this was on our sneak peek. This one does combine, there you've got your stamping with your die cut pieces, you've got the little blossoms on there. We did the just is a negative, and the because is a die cut element. You've just got all these really pretty floral sprigs sticking out, and you've got your focal point there in the just because. Here's another one that combines the stamping and the die cutting. So these two elements are stamped. You've got the dice cut sprig here. We've added the flower on top. We even stamped the flower. The flower is stamped and then die cut. And then as you can see, we've got that frame because it's a double cut. We did it twice. So once with white cardstock and once with black so that we could frame that out. And I actually really love that this is non-traditional foliage colors and it looks really pretty. The black and white and then the like coastal blue color. Okay, here is another one where we've actually used this rectangle image right here, this direction, and stamped it behind, stamped these, and then added a die cut foliage. And then we use those little bitty flowers to create the center of that flower on this card. And these are both die cut. The just and the because are die cut and added to that card. Here's one that just has a lot of stamping. So we've used these flowers and the little leaf elements to stamp around the rectangle. And then we stamped just because, and then used this little die cut that says just because you inspire me. And here is one more where we've used that rectangle piece to create our own little striped background. We've got a vellum die cut element. And if you can see, we also just used the outline frame in that rectangle, just kind of to frame in that sentiment, but yet you can still see through it because it's just a little frame of cardstock. And then that copper because, love this color combo. Anyway, that just is a quick overview of our Just Because bundle. We think it's a super versatile set and we cannot wait to see what projects you create.